You will recall in yesterday's episode I was concerned that heavier pendulum, which weighed about half a pound, was just going to be a little bit too heavy for the suspension system in this plastic movement. And I want to show you why. Now this is the fourth or fifth of this particular movement that I've had, and I have never had this off, but I kind of know how it's made from previous experience with other movements. And you'll be seeing this one with me for the very first time. Okay, my concerns were justified. All right, the pivot points are right here and right here. That's all there is. And these are plastic. So let me zoom in a little bit. Now I realize that these pivot points are hard plastic, but they are just plastic. And I am concerned that such a small area, constantly having sort of like friction going back and forth, rolling on the top of that little point, I'm concerned that something that weighs almost half a pound is going to slowly flatten out the point and eventually stop. Not only that, but see if I can get it so you can see it here. Okay, so this hole that it's riding in, it also is just hard plastic. So anyway, that's why I'm not going to use the heavier pendulum. Now this is this type of suspension system that's designed for a pendulum that's heavy. In fact, this is the one that's in the movement that we're going to be taking out. It flexes back and forth. Here is another pendulum spring. It's a little bit more heavy duty than the one I just showed you. This one is supporting a pendulum that weighs 660 pounds. The pendulum spring is 1/64 of an inch in thickness, and I'm guessing from the looks of it, it must be about 2 inches wide. Anyway, it's in Big Ben, in London, England. Uh-oh, 3 o'clock already. Time to quit and upload the video. I'm just kidding, it's only about 10:30 in the morning or so. Well, that's kind of sad because that's going to be the last time that this clock gonged like that. Now, funny thing sort of happened just then. I kind of got choked up, and it's only a clock. But I think the sound of it suddenly brought back a lot of good family memories. Now this bracket here, I'm going to save this because I might be able to use it somehow for mounting the speaker. But before I start horsing around with a screwdriver in here and accidentally damaging this, I think I better take this out first. Okay, now we can check and see if the click has come off of the ratchet. Okay, yeah, that's what's happened. You can see it right there. Got my fat finger out of the way. This click here is supposed to be up against the ratchet here, just the same way as this one is. Yeah, why is it doing that? Okay, now I put it back on. For some reason, it's going down too far, and it's just slipping over. I'll zoom in and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Now I'm going to play it safe here, and I'm going to take the suspension rod off because when I'm sort of manhandling it here with my big clumsy hands, there's a chance I might bend something. And this suspension spring that I showed you earlier, it gets kinked extremely easy. Now it should just unhook off of this pin that you see the screwdriver's on right here. And it should take very little force here to move it up so it'll unhook. Don't want to be accidentally bending anything. Well, it's a little harder than I thought. There's another way. I'll just take this out. There we go. I'll keep that for a moment. Now this should go like this, and over and out. Okay, there. Now there's no danger of bending that. And we'll put this back in, although maybe it'd be smart to leave it out too. You know what? I think I'm going to leave it out too. But I'll put this back in so I don't accidentally lose it. Now I'll put these in a safe place. Okay, now while I'm handling it, at least from the back, there's not as much stuff here, that can be damaged. But I still have to be careful where I grab hold of it. There's a lot of delicate stuff here on the top. Really delicate. But we want to have a close look right in here. So just gently put this down now. Now, I've never had this happen to me. So I'm just sort of wondering why is it happening to other people and never to me? Because this click, it just shouldn't go all the way over like this. That's what happened. And then of course, the spring backs up, and it must have backed up with quite a bang. Probably scared the daughter. I'm just wondering if people are maybe winding too quickly. Is that possible, that the click is getting thrown back? Because right now there's nothing wrong with it. Now, this is the gong side. I'm going to have to take the tension off that spring because I got a feeling they probably wound it up tight and just left it that way. I never did check. Oh, there's a little bit of wind left there, but it's pretty tight. I don't know when or if I will ever use this movement again, but it would not be a good idea to leave the thing under full tension, the spring under full tension, so I'll just back it off carefully. There. Spring is completely relaxed now. Okay, let's get to work putting the electronic movement in. Now, I don't know if I should take these out or not. They're 5-minute epoxied in there, and I'm afraid that if I can't really cut them out too easily, and if I try to break them out, it's going to really make a mess of this plywood here. I can easily mount the movement and leave them in. I think I'll just leave them in. Yeah, and then we've got these extra 2 winding holes here now. So many of these old-fashioned mechanical movement clocks have been replaced with movements like this that you can actually buy dummy winding shaft things so that you stick them over the hole, and when you see the clock from the front, it looks like you're looking at a thing that you'd stick the key on, if you know what I mean. Now, I'm not going to get that fancy. We'll just have to hope that it doesn't look too bad from the front. I think what's going to happen is, I'm hoping anyway, I better just check and see what I see there. Maybe I have to put some tape over it. I'll just check. I think I better put tape over it. Okay, my experience has been that electrician's tape usually sticks for a long, long time. Don't want to pull it too tight. Okay, now at least the back of the movement isn't going to be seen from the outside. At least that's the plan. Now I'm going to undoubtedly have to lengthen this pendulum rod. It should be probably 8 inches longer than it is. So the bob is more down at the bottom of the case. And it's been my experience with battery movements that when you have a really long pendulum, it doesn't want to swing it if this is slightly skewed a little bit one way or the other. So that means that I'm going to have to make sure that I've got this as square as possible to the side of the case, so that when we level the clock on the wall, we know that the pendulum movement is also perfectly level, and there's less of a chance that it's going to have a problem to swing the pendulum. I tend to use a lot of words to say something that doesn't require a lot of words. Sorry about that. You know, about 5 years ago I was doing this and I made the comment that I'm finding it harder and harder to get these nuts on. Now I'm finding it almost impossible. I want to mention here that these do not have to be real tight. This is just a thin brass nut and it'll easily strip out. So I just use something like this and just do it finger tight. Now I'm going to use a plastic straight edge here so I have less of a chance of scratching the dial, and it'll also bend just a little bit here. Give me an idea. Am I straight? Not bad. Not too bad. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's really good. Okay, that's square. Do you remember these from the big clock project? These used to be our pillow blocks. I think they'll work good now to just glue along the sides. Might have to cut them down a little. Put one on the top, one on each side. Yeah, I'll have to shorten one because of this cord here. Well, we're getting there. Okay, this is just 5-minute epoxy here. And some of you might be thinking to yourselves, my goodness, what are you expecting? An earthquake or something? Well, what I'm expecting is that probably once a year, the batteries are going to have to be changed. and it is extremely easy to twist the movement when you're changing the batteries. In fact, it's almost impossible not to, unless the movement is securely fastened in. Now, I do realize that there are screw holes here, and I could put a screw, right through, into the dial board. But this dial board is so thin, I'm afraid of coming right through into the metal dial. And one more. I'll just periodically press these in for the next 10 minutes or so. And I'm just going to double check here. Make sure we haven't moved anything. No, we're still square.